Okay, I should be live. Okay, so this is chess video pipeline. I'm going to show you a few things that I've done recently, and I'm going to close down a bunch of other stuff. Let me just double check that this does say it's live, streaming, connected, video analytics. Make sure. I want to double check that this is actually going out to the internet, and I don't have to press any more buttons because this has changed since the last time I did it. I'm live. Okay. So let me close this down. I'm going to keep just the, can't see what I'm looking at, but I'm looking at my web browser. Okay, so I need this, and I need, sorry, you didn't always just start the video, you used to just set it up, and maybe I should have not launched it right away. Whatever. Okay, this is a benchmark. I probably will edit this at some point, but just go ahead and I guess I want to go to the, I'm loading up a video of the result of this. So I've just completed my first YouTube short video about chess, or not about chess, but it is a chess game. So, well, actually, okay, so let's do this. Let's do it this way. Sorry, I'm a little disorganized. Haven't done a stream in quite some time. Okay, so if I go to Screencast, this is what you're looking at here is the Godot game engine, and I believe if I turn on desktop audio, I can record this. Let me give me 1 second, just make sure I don't get a huge echo. Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, so hopefully you'll be able to hear this. And what we're looking at here is the Godot game engine, and I have made a chess video. It's on YouTube and on a channel called Pawn Takes World. Pawn Takes World, and it's a video about, it's probably a 27-second video, 26-second video about this little guy who is playing some chess. And what I'm going to do is make it. I'll just put it in here so you can see how it plays in the player. And I'm just going to show you the whole video because it's only a few seconds. So all the way to the beginning, and press play, and I'll hide this.
D4, and the first thing I see is the bishop on A4. The two bishops are attacking each other. Mine's undefended, and trading it gets it out of the way. So I imagine that's probably the first move. Knight is attacking my queen, though, but I can capture a check. So I think maybe the move is bishop takes d7 check, then whatever happens, we capture with the knight on f3. So let's try that. That looks right. Queen recaptures, and knight takes d4. Okay, correct.
And then the idea is that would loop. Got a warning here. Seems current. Oh, bit rate is lower. Okay, so whatever. We're just not connected well enough. Can't do anything about that. All right, so that sounded a little quiet to me. So maybe I need to adjust that a little bit, but maybe just my headphones. And I think there was, actually watching that now, the timing was a little bit off on some of it, but that's a general idea. So I thought it was pretty cool. This is basically what I wanted to build. It's got this little guy down here that actually is I don't know how much it looks like me, but that is me. I took a picture of myself and rotoscoped it. It was about 2 years ago, I think, that I made that little guy. The chessboard I made or the chess figures I made even before that, but everything else is new. And so I'm doing some recordings, a bunch of little files. So there's like probably 20 or 30 individual audio clips that are all stitched together there. You can tell there's not really much time between them. I don't yet have I can manually change the time between those clips and I adjust them in this tool, and I didn't do it for this one. So they're just strung together. And of course, you can put spaces in the audio, but basically it's just a bunch of audio clips strung together, and that's the main timeline. And then it's synchronized with the timeline for the chess game or the chess puzzle. And then the audio is recorded, and as it plays, it's synchronized. So I have timestamps for every word. I got that out of OpenAI's Whisper API, and so I can tell exactly when each word is being said, and then I have an animation in Godot here for each one of those things. So I have an animation for that strings the clips together, and then for each one of those clips, audio clips, I have an animation that does the mouth on this avatar guy. You can see his mouth moves up and down, and it actually does the proper. There's an AI model called Rhubarb, a little program that was made by the people who made Thimbleweed Park, which is a video game, and they have characters that actually have this kind of similar style. So not only did I borrow the style from the Maniac Mansion, Thimbleweed Park, LucasArts games, but I also used the Ron Gilbert's team's lip syncing software, and so that's what's powering all this. But we got some OpenAI integration. Basically, there's a bunch of stuff going on, and a lot of pieces. A lot of little pieces are stuck together. All right, so I'm not completely thrilled with the result. Like it's a wow, excuse me. It's I think it's a good video, a good first shot, but I'd like to get better control of the spacing, things like that. Put some more expression in the avatar's face, be able to make it move a little bit more, and so on. But I think it's, for the most part, I'm like, this is what I was shooting for, and I delivered, and I'm happy with it. Probably redo the icons and the chess pieces a little bit. I like the king, but I don't like the rook and the queen here. I like the pawns, and I like everything else I like. But they could be redrawn. They're kind of aliased, and I think I want a more pixelated look, the whole thing. I also see now that looks like the board is shifted slightly. It's not quite lined up, but that's okay. First try. So I'm going to make a bunch of these videos, and my thought is that each time I make one, I'll try to make the process a little bit better. It took me months to get to this point. As I said, I'd made the Rhubarb thing probably 2 years ago now at this point. The little avatar guy, I was going to make a video about that. And I've been working on the recording stuff for a long time. Some of you may have seen my videos on JPrez. Well, that has evolved to this new tool that you're going to see tonight. Anyway, I'll just walk through the whole process, and it's just a bunch of things being stuck together. I'm going to show a little bit just for posterity's sake. But I'll take a look at the video that I originally recorded that led to this video. So I just sat down for maybe an hour and just did some puzzles on Chess and the free chess server. This puzzle came from there, and I just did a bunch of them. I recorded them, and then kind of reenacted what I said in those recordings to make the puzzle work, or to make this film work. All right, so I'm actually waiting for my IDE to load up. My computer's a little underpowered now. Everything has been added to it, and it's just gotten slower and slower. Things upgrade, but let me see if I can down some. Plus with the OBS running. Discord. Probably don't need half the other stuff, but afraid to kill it. All right, so I guess while that's loading, I'm really just. I guess while that's loading, I'm going to find my other video. Previously, yes. 51-minute video here.
Okay, so I'm just playing some lichess here. I'm gonna try and do some puzzles.
Yes.
Puzzles. And the first thing all right, so I'm gonna try and find the puzzle that I did just a minute ago. So it was the first one. All right, so yeah, so all right, so I'm probably the first one. This is attacking my queen though, so but this would be a check. So I would think maybe the move is this, and then whatever happens, we do this, and then that's it. So I'm going to try that. Check, that was right. Boom. Okay, correct. Okay, so that's almost word for word what I put in the video. And so now at this point, so at 127, I remember where that is. I'm going to, I've got another puzzle there. So let's see whatever that one is. And this is what we're going to turn into a video. Then you can rate it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm black.
I should be saying the names of the moves, right? Okay, so BD9 UB. Let's see. The king has just moved out of the check.
I might skip this one.
From, so the queen moved.
I'm going to skip this one.
The first thing I see is this
I don't yet have the ability to play as black. I think it will work, but I'd have to change a couple scripts because because the board, you have to flip the board, and I'm not ready to do that. So I'll play. This is NMDT1B. I'm looking at this number up here until that changes. So I can't play as black. I'll play this one. So this will be the one we're going to record.
Attacking the white queen. The first thing I see.
No.
First thing I see. Attacking.
You just can't.
The white queen.
About 10 seconds.
Okay, so I'm just playing some lichess here.
You don't. Why don't I not have good control over this?
I should be saying the names of the moves, right?
Yes, you should. The original intent was to take this recording directly and turn it into a video. Oh, my battery's going to die too, so probably I'll lose this video in the stream. That's fine. I'll just turn off the circle down here.
Okay, so BD9 UB. Let's see. The king has just moved out of the check. First thing I see. First thing I see.
Look, it jumps 30 seconds.
This check. Which is first a fork, but also it would open a way to steal this queen. So I think that's the move. Check, and then take the queen.
All right, so 230 is where this starts. All
right, this queen has just moved, attacking the white queen. AST7Z. The queen is attacking the white queen. So the queens are facing off, but is protected by this bishop. But also I see this, so the question is there a check, right? So one check is he takes F7, check.
I think the answer is you move this pawn up after you take the queen. You take the queen and then move it.
What does that do for me? Then, he would recapture with the rook, I guess. Or he could just move out of the way.
Now this is like a minute and 20 seconds so far.
There's also this move,
double speed,
which forks these two rooks. Right, so there's also E7, which forks these two rooks. Presumably, if I did that, the queen would just capture, and then I would take one of the rooks, and but that would also be check, right? So that's fine. I think that was a mistake. The first move has to be this, right? That's okay. So we're done. Now with this out of the way, I suppose now we do this.
Yeah. Okay, that was it.
I see the move.
That was like, I think it was started at 2:30. I said, and so that was 2 minutes 20 seconds just to get that. Can you just jump in? No, you can't say. Edit with Clipchamp. I don't know what that is. Oh, it's something from the Microsoft Store. Ah. I guess I could play with like something else where I have better control with VLC. Open that. Play with media player. Open with.
Okay, so I'm just playing some Lichess here. I'm gonna try and do some puzzles. I guess
That was like
7Z. This queen.
231, I think.
Alright, this queen has just moved.
Okay, so that little clip that I've got is too long to be a YouTube short, and you know there's a lot of dead air in there. So I want to talk through the thing and show my thinking, but it's going to be a reenactment, and maybe the time might not necessarily be right. So we're gonna do that. The first thing I need to do is I need to get that puzzle. Okay, so the puzzle is. I guess we can do this. You should write down what I'm doing. Let me load up Emacs, and I had it like a workflow here, but I'm workflow documents. Workflow. I'll say puzzle workflow, and we'll keep this on screen as we go along. Puzzle workflow. I know it's not on screen yet. Puzzle workflow. Okay, so one half of it is going to be getting the audio, and one is film a puzzle. Obtain the puzzle. Solve a puzzle on Lichess, which is the site that's in this video, lichess.org, and then note the number ID in upper left hand corner, and then we're going to go to fetch JSON from GP API. Is it API.lichess.org? I have one. I think I have one open somewhere. The reference. No, not. Start of the stream. Give me a second. Yeah, okay, I'm not seeing the place where I had the game book. Oh, it's right here. Okay, so right here is the puzzle. So we just changed this number to whatever was on the screen there. And you can get it out of your history. You can find in history at, I'll go to is puzzle dashboard and click on history. And then when you fetch the data from here, this is actually like days and days ago, 4 days ago. I said it took months to make the video, but I've actually been working on I started with the idea of doing entire games, and I made a whole recorded the video and animated the whole game. And it was just a lot of work, and I decided that I'd rather just do puzzles until I get the learn how to say that word, until I get the workflow working. because I'm expecting this to take about 2+ hours, probably more than 2 hours. Like it would probably be about an hour if I just, if I had it in my head how to do it. But because I'm having to, retrace my steps and do all that, I think. Okay, so 5 days ago was short puzzles, and I think it actually is this one. I'm not looking at the. We had 2 queens facing off. It's this one, right? I was looking for the incorrect because I knew that was. Right, so we can actually load the puzzle this way by clicking on that link. I think. No, I don't need that. So we go here, and then we just paste it. So fetch JSON from, changing the ID. Okay, so that's that much. That is disconnected. Please wait till we try to connect. Please sign in. Okay, so even connected. Two-step verification. That's me. And my camera died. No, it didn't die. It just got disconnected. Okay. All right. Well, I'm just gonna hide that thing. Which would be this thing, and just hide. Okay. So. Right. Okay, so next we have this one. All right, so now we have the code. Oh, actually, I don't have to fetch it here. So I have a script that does it. So fetch by running, we'll call this ID, by running the script. And let's see what we have here. So go to, maybe I'll put it over here. So cdd ver pong takes world tools. Let's put it here, cd, and just copy that. Python leeches to godot.py, and I'll show that code for that in a second. And let's see it now because I got to remember -p to do a puzzle. So say Python -p and then the name of the puzzle, the ID, which I think is right up here. Okay. And then copy this. Copy this to the docs. And then fetch and convert to our format, to Godot to animation format, to our custom format by running the script this here. And set the ID here. Puzzle ID here. All right, and then what do we do? Then once we have this, we're going to copy this and paste it into Godot. So paste this. All right, so first of all, before I even start doing this, you just open up a new window. Tab cdd Pontics World being the name of the channel. I just want to make sure that I've checked everything in Git. Replay is the long form. Make sure everything's checked. Some of this is junk. I've got a lot of copies of the of different things. And like, you know, I've checked a lot of audio. So paste the generated JSON, which is right here. All right, so we should say open. Puzzles are in the following Godot project about Godot scene. So they're in the ver takes world. Probably gonna be doing this a lot, but have documentation Godot, and then it's puzzle.tscn, and paste the generated JSON. Open Godot and paste generated JSON into the something node. So one of these nodes is going to have a slot. Like this. Okay, and then we're going to paste it into the, where does it go? Game? Yes, game. Into the this property, JSON moves property in the inspector for the game node. Open the Godot scene. Open puzzle.tscn in Godot. Paste the generated text. Okay, so all this text now goes in here. I guess I can look at what this code does just because it's a programming channel. Oh, that can work. Right click, paste. Okay. So if we say less chess to Godot.py, basically we just have a standard chess library from Python and a request library, and we have some code that knows the names of all the squares and what sprites are on them. So each of these little guys is a sprite inside the game here, inside board. Hard to see, but scroll over here. Actually, no, these are the squares. There's still individual squares for the board, and that is a little silly, but that's how it is. But under pieces, I've numbered the guys. So this is like rook zeros. This is probably the black rook in the upper left-hand corner, and they're just named the way that they appear on the board by default. And then the uppercase is for the white version. Lowercase, this is just fen notation. FEN uses that for these. To draw a board, you use uppercase for white and lowercase for that, for lower. Okay. So anyway, the name of the sprite, we say what is on each square is the name of the sprite that is on that square. And then when the castling moves involve two pieces, and so this is like the algebraic notation that we're going to get out of, when you write like PGN or algebraic notation, the castling move looks like either O-O or O-O-O. So like depending on whether you castle kingside or queenside. But we're going to translate that into this algebraic notation, or this chess library translates that to an algebraic notation, and then it converts it to one of these, and you just know that's a castle because, or the engine knows that's a castle because the king can only move more than one square if he's on E1 or E8, and then he moves to G1 or C1 or G8 or C8, and so there must be a rook involved, and there must be a castle involved because it's moving more than one square, and so that's what the chess library spits out, and so I have to intercept that and say, well, I'm actually going to animate two pieces, and so we just loop through so what we feed into that is just the PGN, not even full PGN, but just the list of moves in algebraic notation, which is what we see here. So we're starting with this right here. It says PGN, but like PGN has like numbers in front of the thing, like which it is, and has you can annotate in different ways. So this is not exactly PGN. But it says knight to f3, d5, g3, so these are pawn moves, and then bishop to g2, and by this time, like I've lost track of which player is which. So that's why you put the one, and it should say one dot, and then the two moves, and then two dot, and so on. In real PGN, I guess this is technically PGN, but usually it has those. Anyway, so this is the what this is the sequence of moves that got us in the game to this point, right? And so you can actually, if you I actually couldn't get it. I think that's why, like, yeah, on Lichess, usually on the phone, if you're playing this puzzle on the phone, there's a button you can press to go into analysis mode, and you can see the so first of all, on Lichess, there's this list of moves. That's what I'm talking about. And there should be a button that lets you see the that lets you build this position and go into analysis mode. But because from there, then most of the time, if you're looking at a board, you can get like called the fence. So this is like the sequence of moves that got you to that point. But you can also just take like a snapshot of the board and say these are where the pieces are. And I support that. Let me see if I can make something like that happen. Just so I can show what I'm talking about. Go to the analysis board, and then like these shouldn't have to be valid moves, right? Oh, it is valid. Maybe you go to study. You make a study. Create chapter. Yeah, because now you can just you shouldn't. Board editor. That's what I'm. Yeah, because now we're not editing the history. We're just creating a position from scratch, right? So if you want to make like a hypothetical position like this, then this right here, this one line is called the fen, and so it says, there's a rook, there's a knight, there's a bishop, there's a queen, rook, knight, bishop, queen, and then there's one space, right? Oops. And then there's a bishop and a rook, and they're all lowercase, right? And then there's all these pawns, and then there's so this is an impossible position in chess, right? Because the king has jumped over the pawn, or whatever. And then you can set whether it. So anyway, so this line of text, I can take this and import it into my system. Somehow, somewhere, I have something that will do this, but I haven't used it because that fen is not this fen notation, fe notation, is not available. So where Maybe I no longer have this. I could have sworn I wrote code for this. Maybe it's under the board. Doesn't matter. Somewhere in here there's code, so maybe on the board there's code for. Okay, like yeah, so it reads this fen and it can parse this. So if I see setup board, but I haven't. Maybe if I have command. Okay, sorry. I haven't gotten this far yet, but so in order to make this possible, I have different tools talking to each other. And right now is not here, but how about we say set fen? I will say fen is a string, and then we will say game. See what the how to refer to this board. So game board. Game board, and then we say I have the chessboard, and I say setup board. Setup board. Can't see it. Typing, but I just board and found it. And say fen. Okay, so I'll just call this fen. And then I have like a little shell in here where you can send messages, and the messages come in as JSON, so we have to say fen. And so it'd be a JSON array that had the string in it. So we can take that string, copy it out of there, paste it in here, and if we hit enter, that should turn the table. Yeah, so now we have that position. We don't need this, so on the icon, there's always over one thing, so we can change that to frame 0, and then it will hide the icon. I guess I should walk through what the scene is. So we have this complicated thing called the game, and that actually had, you know, I have what I call trays. That was going to be something that would show the, you know, show the pieces that you've captured. But I hid that, so I think if I, yeah, that's just an empty thing. And also, you can't animate reparenting an item. So moving it from the board to moving the pieces from the board to the tray. I mean, you can just move them on the screen, but you can't change them in the hierarchy, and that's what I was doing. So that's actually not. I wound up just getting rid of that for now. Okay, so this has probably trash. I don't even need that. But then the board itself is just a square. It actually does, I think what that node right there does is provide the script, and it provides the script that you just saw that you set up the board, and it provides the rounding on these corners. And the ranks are just, you know, this is a vertical box control, and then a horizontal box container for each rank, and it has squares in it. It's silly. I shouldn't have done it that way, but that's what I did in the video. I made a video about this, and it was actually one of my most popular videos. Just about putting this scene together. And so that's there. But probably this will all be replaced with a canvas. This canvas right here is for drawing the annotations. And I think it could just redraw the entire board. Not the pieces. I will leave the pieces as sprites, but the board itself could just be drawn on that canvas. Okay, I can't just yank it out right now because currently what it does is it actually looks to find like this node right here and find where it is, and then that's how the pieces move to each other. Or that's where the pieces get placed on the board. Anyway, this is this. What else do we have? We have canvas for drawing stuff, and I have like a whole script about you know, basically drawing circles and arrows and stuff, and we'll see how that works in a while. So that, you know, on Lichess you can do this kind of arrow stuff, and you know, The idea is that I want to be able to show that on the screen. So I wrote code to draw arrows and circles. Okay, and then and then I've got this plugin that I've made to Godot that listens on a WebSocket, and it lets you type these commands in, or you can send them over a WebSocket to this port. And if you listen on this port, then other software can connect to and issue these commands. And whatever scene you're looking in looks for a node called commands, and if it has a script associated with it, it has to be a tool script, so that means it runs inside the editor. And then once you have that, then any function on here, we can call it just by passing it JSON. So I said fen takes a string, and so then here I called it by passing in this array fen and then the string. And so you just send that JSON over the WebSocket, or type it into this command or into this prompt here, and then it'll run the. We can change this. We can make these kings and kings and queens and queens, right? And we run this, and Oh, that probably broke because I don't have multiple kings, right? So you can't do that. You can do it in fen, but you can't do it in this. So if I could say 2 here, and then on the next line I could do this and change that to 6, and then that'll work. But I only have so many sprites, so I can't yet like animate a promotion from one. I can't animate a pawn turning into something else because I don't have the sprite for that yet. So that things like that, just minor things that I just didn't have need to do in this. Either in the game that I recorded or this first puzzle. All right, I'm rambling. The point was to document this. Okay, so we have the game node. That's what this says. The game node wraps this thing, wraps the board, and the goal of this is to build this animation. And so this script is an animation builder. And so you see this. I think I copied this right out of that Python code, or vice versa. So this says. Probably started with this. It says exactly on each square where all the pieces are, and so this is the initial position in chess, and where all the pieces are. And so we go through, and the names of the sprites are these, like I said, and then these are the names of the squares. And so this dictionary is what is used to reset things. And so once you paste this list of moves in, then what we can do is there should be a button here. Sorry, so animation name is. I don't know why this is empty. I think maybe I don't use this anymore. But it talks to this game. I can't seem to make this wider. Maybe because I'm just out of space in the small corner of the screen. But okay, so let me finish up for a second. Scroll text is the text at the top that scrolls, right? And we can say you can change the offset, and as you change the offset, it's the offset of a word within the list of words. Label is this label down here. Right now, this is. I don't think I made a script for this. I think I just hand edited it. So what I did, or what I do here, and can also how about this? Also fetch the puzzle GN by hand from the JSON URL and paste into the scroll text to scroll text.text. So we'll call that. All right, so we're going to paste that in here. Where to go? Really, I should write a little script to do this. I can do that right now. Let's do that. So we'll rename this to PGN text, and let's make a little PGN text GD, and we'll make this. So inside here, we will say it's a tool, and it says property. Say export there PGN. Say multiline, I think. Export multiline var PGN is a string. And then we'll give it a set. And when we set it, we'll say PGN, we'll just say text. We can just put the code right in here. All right, so let's see. Var moves is going to be PGN split space. I say also this should be the PGN from Lichess puzzle URL. It does not contain any numbers, right? And if we save this and we look over here, we should see this and it should tell us what that is. We have to do 3. Oh, maybe I have to put it inside of this. Yeah, okay. PGN field from Lichess puzzle URL. It does not contain any numbers. So we're going to split it, and then for I in range length moves, I say let's call var res equals a new pack string array, and then so then we'll have a move number where n equals 1. If I mod 2, so if it's even, then res pushback. We're gonna add this text right here. So like they're colored in. We're gonna do the syntax color here. We're gonna say pushback this, and then color, and then we could format the actual number. So we'll put 1 dot. That's a decimal number with 1 dot, and then the number would be 10. And then whether it's even or odd, we will res push back, which is append, right? I think it's actually called append. You can also say append. I think that just aliases one. Append, and we'll say moves I. And we'll say I, so that's already looping. And then do we say color for that one? No. All right, and then at the very end we'll say text equals res, and we'll say space join res. Join res. Okay. And because it's a rich text table, that's editing the text. So now that should actually just update as we change, as we paste things in. So as we paste code in, that should immediately update, and we just Paste that in here, and then it should update over here as well. But it did not. So let's see. Is there something in the? I think it's just because we have to reload the project because we've added a new tool. You have to reload the project. Maybe while that's working, I'll try to. While it's reloading, I'll try and get my camera back. Deactivate. No. I can do the old. Oh, my old camera's not working either. Well, okay, no camera, fine. All right, so let's back up. All right, so now I would expect this to work. You can see the text has disappeared. So probably something went wrong. Oh, it didn't save that. Oh, and we didn't persist it. So so in the code you have to say. So in PGN text we'll just say the variable is PGN. You have to actually say PGN equals E. Paste that in here. I can't even see it. Paste that in here. And yeah, so now it updates. But we actually want, so two problems in there, both easy to fix. So we have to increment n, so n plus equals 1, and then 2, if we want to say if equals 0, or you say if not that, right? And now we should just be able to edit that in real time. So if we change that to like F4 or whatever. Okay, so let's see. That is too much text. And you got this guy's shoulder in the way. All right, so there we'll do that. So that's the, you have to zoom in to see it, but like, I mean, you zoom. There's some way you can reset this to 100. Very good. That's 100% at the actual screen size. If you're looking at a phone, it's so. But I think that's fine because like this doesn't really matter. Like it's just something to put there. Okay. So that's kind of cool. So there we go. So now we can say paste the PGN into text.pgn, and it will populate text. Okay. Meanwhile, I don't know if I ever did this. So meanwhile, when you go to the game, face the game, and that is this game right here. So what you need to do, let's do it backwards. Say from the JSON URL, which is this, paste into the, okay. Okay, so then fetch move, and with color coded adjust font size to text. All right, fetch also fetch JSON and convert to custom format by running the script. Paste that into the JSON moves, and then so maybe we'll break this into different things. In the puzzle, and this will be populate PGN on screen. And then this would be generate animation of the game to that point. Okay, so we do that. And this actually includes the answer here. So whatever the answer is, when you do that, it fetches it from the you pretty print this. You can see there's also solutions. So we have the script that I wrote, the Python script, includes that. You want to special? I did look at it. I did show it. That's the code for the tool that you haven't seen yet. Where's the other tool? Oh, we just took it up. That's that. And it's just good. There was some attempt to actually get the timing in there. I was going to do the commentary in real time for a real game, and I didn't do that. But anyway, it also fetches the so if you do the -p, it fetches the solution and all together. Okay. All right, and then press the go. Then press the go checkbox. So this is a little hack I use in Godot all the time. You have a checkbox here. You just have an arbitrary property called go, or whatever, and it's just a Boolean. And then in the setter for this, you tell it to do something, kind of like what I just did in the setter for PGN. But so that gives you a button. And actually in Godot 4.43, which is not what I'm using yet. This is 4.4. When that comes out, maybe it's 4.3 something. Whatever it is. Yeah, this is 4.3. But in 4.43, which is the maybe I'm confused. It's the preview. It's 4.443. 4.4 release candidate 4. 4.4 release candidate 3 is, yeah, that's right. This is 4.3 stable. Anyway, the future version of Godot is going to have this, it replaces this need. You'll just be able to press buttons. You'll just be able to say there's a button for this thing, and then you can make it do whatever you want. You don't have to use that little hack that I did, this little checkbox thing. And you can actually give it a button with a name and have it do stuff. Okay. Anyway, the point of it, you press this button. Boom. Okay. Press the go POC to generate the animation. It's in the game player animation player node. It appears in the game player animation. All right, so now, wow, come back here. So now if we go to game player, we have this animation, and you can see that it's made a bunch of animations, like one for every move. Yeah, this is not the same animation. So this should actually play the game. It still has my narration from the old clip, but this should play the game.
Knight takes d4, and the first thing I see is the bishop on a4. The two bishops
Yeah,
are
this is
attacking each
different.
other.
What's happening here? The problem is, you can see the problem I'm looking at is that this knight is not lined up right. It didn't land in the right spot, and that's because the animation got cut off. The first two animations were slightly truncated, I think, because they overlapped each other. And that was because, again, I wanted to do this in real time, so there's probably a bug in here. Move this back. This doesn't really matter, except that, okay, so a init takes you back to that. That's an these are animations, right? So there's an animation for each one. Right, so what I wrote is wrong. It adds an animation for each move in the game player animation player. And then updates the timeline on this one is called output, and the output and then updates the and the strings, and then puts the moves together on the output animation on the output node. This is the game player node. I could probably do this, but doesn't think it's LaTeX. The output node. The $sign is just the Godot notation. All right, so if I did that right, then that should put the knight in the right place now. Yeah.
All right, knight takes d4, and the first thing I see is the bishop on a4.
We can just get rid of these commentaries. Where's the commentary from the scenes? So we'll delete this. Not delete that, but just delete this. Delete that animation. So we tell each player to play something. All right, so now this is the game. Ignore the annotations here. You know, so it just takes its time to get to that point. But I'll let it play all the way through. I think if you press this button, it'll show you all. That's a lot of moves. That was got the answer right thing. Okay. All right, so now at this point, so play it to the end. I'm doing something here. Play the animation so that you reach the puzzle position. Note that already includes the solution. Right, so the last couple ones should be the solution, right? So let's see the puzzle. Back to the puzzle. All right, so the queen should be facing off. Wait, what? Did this not work? It reset it, didn't it? Okay, so you just have to loop through every one of these endpoints. It's annoying. Because I don't have the fen, right? You just have to make sure every animation plays completely. Oh, I'm looking at scroll text here. This should be these. And then there's a get rid of this. This goes way at the end, the last part of the video. Right, and it while it's playing, you can't see the it covers the title. Yes, you have to hide the title. It's actually kind of painful, isn't it? I'm just gonna let it play through until it gets to that point. It's not working. This is terrible. See, you can't just scrub it back and forth and have everything land in the right place for some reason. I think it should do that. And then the timer should come by soon. The playhead should show up. And the queens are getting close. All right, now we're here. So the actual puzzle starts on move 20 at the end of 23. So we're on move 24, which is right here. So this is where we need the playhead to be. We just move this forward. Okay. So move playhead. And then now run in the shell, in the WebSocket shell, run make snapshot puzzle. It's called snapshot. Game snapshot? It's called game snapshot. This has to be JSON. It didn't understand the quotes. All right, so it liked that. It was game snapshot and use. It should be this. If it was not game snapshot, if the name was wrong, it would give you an error. If you put something in here, it'll say commands has no method. But then you can just you can add whatever you want here. So you just whatever scene you're editing, you can add as many commands as you want, and as long as it's a tool script, you just any script associated with a node called commands or the top level commands node give you commands that you can run. Okay. So this would be the other. And this was just probably telling me garbage. Nothing important. Okay. So we should save the scene here. All right. So now the point of that is that now you can replace. Now you can replace all those moves on the timeline with all those per move clips on the timeline with the puzzle clip. Because what that did is it made a new animation on this thing, or overwrote the animation on this thing called Game Player. There should be one called puzzle now, which you can't see, but at the very bottom it says puzzle. When you play it, it just takes you right to the, I mean, nothing changed on the screen because it was already in that position. I can go to init, right? I'll play the init one. There we go, and then when you pick puzzle, it just goes, so you can see we're in the initial position. When I set this to puzzle, now we're in the puzzle position. Scenes. All right, and so then on the output timeline, instead of init and this and this and this, we can do is just select all these. In fact, we can shrink it down. And I can't see you out of order, but select all those, delete them, and then instead of init, we will change that to puzzle. And so then from the very start of the animation, we will be. And then we can go forward all the way to wherever the almost had. I think it was 20. We need the 23 one. So the two 23s are gone, and then yeah, this is the solution to the puzzle. Okay. But do not, so probably do not delete the solution. Don't delete the solution node from the timeline. Okay. All right, so that is an animation of the game up to that point and the solution. So we'll call it, how about the puzzle and its solution? Of the puzzle and its solution. Like all this is, ripe to be automated, and that's okay. It just took me a long time to put it all together, and eventually it will be a nice, quick thing. I might actually have to stop this. I'm not. But I'll show off the tool. All right, so this is, that's all I need for the animation. The animation is done except for the thinking part, the suggesting what I want to do. So that is all done with the. So let's shrink this down. So we obtain the puzzle, populate PGN on screen, generate animation of the puzzle and its solution. Generate. These are done, right? Open Godot scene. Done. Obtain the puzzle. Play and obtain the puzzle. Solve a puzzle on GChess. Record self solving a puzzle on GChess. Play and obtain the puzzle data. Populate PGN on screen. That's done. Generate animation of the puzzle and the solution. Yeah, so all that is done. So the way that worked probably isn't really important. It's when you go to this game thing, it just parses this JSON, right? Which is in a format that just has everything it needs to say what needs to be animated for this move. What is the move number? So it's move number 1. This is the clock, and then there's some other things here. I don't know what the 0 is for. Probably something that wasn't, that I'm not using. What is the origin square? What is the right? The knight 1 moves from no. This is the standard algebraic notation. It says knight 1 moves from the square G1 to F3. Or this is actually the PGN, right? And then the standard algebraic notation would be G1 F3. And then And then this little thing here is to say whenever there's a capture, or if there's a castle, it puts like, which castles needs to be happening, and then which where there's captured. Yeah, so this pawn got captured, and so we have to animate that pawn going away. And so that pawn fades out in the animation. And probably what I should also do in the animation is like do the Z ordering, because sometimes it looks like you land under the thing you're capturing, but whatever. Anyway, so that's what the thing does, and then so it figures out what needs to be animated, and then currently it uses the structure of these squares to figure out where where the squares are on screen, and then it moves these pieces there. But it doesn't just move them directly. What it does is it creates this animation. So for every one of these animation players, they're all linked to this same script called animation builder, and it extends the animation layer in it. And so we can the Godot API for dealing with animations is pretty primitive, and so I've started adding a lot of utility functions, and some of them are like in that script itself. That need like add, move, keyframe, clear animation, so on. They probably ought to be moved and merged into the animation builder, because every time I generated one of these animations, I had to write some of these like loops and get this, and it's just really low level, which is fine because in Godot you have this nice editor for it, but since I'm writing all these scripts, I added a little bit of an extra library on top, which is this animation builder. So each one of these are just collections of animations of different things, but they what am I trying to say? Like they're programmatic animations, so I want them baked in, and so it generates them on the fly. Or rather, other scripts here. So like the rhubarb thing. My little avatar, this guy right here. But if I click on rhubarb, which is what we're going to do next, we have to take the text of each word and paste it in here. Not of each word. I'm sorry. We're gonna generate a bunch of audio clips. All right, let's actually do that. So I'm gonna record some audio clips, and then I'll show you how it synchronizes with this. It uses this WebSocket shell to send stuff over. Am I listening? No. Okay, because it would be gold if it. Okay, so let's let me actually launch my tool here. So we're gonna run the web application, but it's running in Electron, so it's a GUI. It's currently running inside of a GUI. It does take a minute to load, I guess. Did it run though? I don't think it's running. Starting dev. Okay. Yeah, now it's running. All right, so in a minute, it's Electron plus this framework called Next.js, which is a React framework. I don't do a lot of React stuff. I started doing this thing in React just because I thought I was going to be doing some React at work, and turns out I never did. But so far this is written in React. I will probably drop React. It's just adding. It is kind of nice, but I don't need it for what I'm doing. But the goal is to get this tool working, to get this pipeline established. All right, so here's my tool. Computer running super slow. Okay, and so what we have here is an outliner. So these are sections. Here you're looking at one video, one project, and the database is like a tree structure, and so in theory this could be like an outliner But right now you're only looking at, like, the UI itself only supports like 2 levels of the tree. So the top level, node 0 has these children right here. Each one of these are the node IDs. Actually, these are no. This is the node of the string context world pilot, node ID 145, and then it is placed in this tree. So the same node can be in many trees, and so the tree node 120. That's a child of node 0. All of these. This is the full game that I recorded. And puzzle 1 is the text of the game at the start of the puzzle at the start. So what we're going to do, so in the board, the text of the presentation, right, and record the text of the presentation, right, and record text of the, again, this is a enact. Desired piece. Do that, we will say first we're going to say first now create node in Angui. Tangent, not the final name of the product, but hold the scene. Do that, we just press A here to append, and we're puzzle. And now, if we press tab, we're on this thing. This is just, again, rows in a database, and we're the ID of the node, the node ID of the plot, node ID itself, thing, index within the tree, so you can reorder the tree value. And it's mad because it's value yet. Value is 0. Press E to edit it, and say we need a script. So I'm going to bring back that video up. Watch the video. For this video. See what I said originally.
Attacking the White Queen. Alright, this queen has just moved, attacking the White Queen.
Okay, so queen to e5. Kind of like with the last puzzle. Okay, queen to e5. Attacking the white. So maybe in this puzzle, okay, so in this puzzle, e5 attacks the white.
AST7Z. The queen is attacking the white.
No, that's not the full. It is all lowercase.
White queen. Yes. So the queens are facing off, but is protected by this bishop.
Black is protected by the bishop. I need to verbalize the on having out of that loop. Black is protected. Bishop. Presumably, I would draw that arrow, right?
But also I see this. So the question is there a check, right?
Question is, I have to do something. Try and smooth that out. So I have to do something about that. But is there a check? Is there a check? Let's say I can check from the pawn, check with the pawn. Oh, we check with the yeah, pawn on e6.
So one check is e takes f7 check.
I don't want the, I don't want it to look like I'm super smart and able to solve these quickly. I can't, but I do want to show my thinking. I want to move slow enough that the audience can follow the. This doesn't matter. Like right now, I'm just like pushing out a video. I don't expect anyone to watch the videos right off the bat. I expect them to get better, and eventually, I'll get to the point where part of the pacing is considering the audience here. Trying to I wrote like this puzzle, right? Trying to remind people puzzle and what is the next move, so that people play along with me, right? So it's like here's a chess puzzle for you to solve, and while you're you can pause it for a second, and while you're thinking, here's what I found, and I might even put that on the screen at some point. Some pause and want to solve it yourself.
What does that do for me?
And so what does that do? What do you think for me? What does that do for me?
Then he would recapture with the rook, I guess.
Capture with capture with.
Or he could just move out of the way.
Like I'm trying to be a little bit honest, mostly honest with what I'm saying, but just maybe speed it up a little. It is meant to be like a live reaction, but not this long, because this is definition. This is death in a video, which is I have the same issue with these videos. Why I'm making this tool. Okay, so I'm really sitting.
There's also this move, which forks these two rooks.
Maybe I put like a little Jeopardy TikTok kind of thing. There's also this move. also pawn to, what we say, pawn to e7, which forks these. Rooks. All right, so this is, there's also e7, which forks these two rooks. Not fluent with this. Presumably, if I did that, the queen would just capture. If I do that, the queen just captures. Do that, just captures. And then I would take one of the rooks, and yeah, and then that would also be checked, right? So that's fine. I can't take a rook because it's checked. Couldn't take the rook because it would be checked. I'd be in check. Right? You can decide if I'm going to. I think the that was a mistake. The first move has to be this, right? That's okay. So we're done. Now it. All right, so that's a blooper, right? And maybe I do that. I don't have a mouse in the video, so I think if I had that for real, like I'd like to get this as close as possible to like a real video where this guy is really doing things. Okay, but like, okay, but if I don't have a mouse on the screen, I think I probably don't do those things. Um, so what I was getting at is that with I was pointing and I actually paused it. Right, so this is, there's also e7, which forks these two rooks. Presumably, if I did that, puzzle rating the queen would just capture. Better at puzzles than I am at chess. And then I would take one of the rooks, and yeah, and then that would also be checked, right? So still not a great. That's fine. This is a decent. I think the that was a mistake. The first move has to be this, right? So the first move has to just the first move. So instead of just has to be this, you want to make it accessible. So I want to verbalize as much. Straight queen. I think the first move is just straight queen. That's okay. So we're done. Now with this out of the way, we have to narrate that bishop takes. Takes. Out of the way. Bishop. What out of the way? Yeah, with this out of the way, that didn't mean anything. Suppose now we do this. Now we do this. All right, so that was it. So I really want to be able to put directly in here exactly what's happening. In this text here, I want to be able to specify moves, and I want to be able to draw right the annotations that are going to appear and actually see them happening. And the idea would be that some of the nodes, some of the lines would be text that are character avatar version of me's exposition, and some narration, and some of it would be stage directions. And this database does have a field called T for the type, and you can plug in whatever type you like, and make up types and have different tracks basically. But that does not work yet. All right, so I'm going to just film like a couple of these lines. It is kind of getting late for me, and I want to wrap this up, but I'm going to show like how it works. And I'll just do enough to animate these first couple lines, because then I think we've covered everything. Oh, well, and then we'll do the audio. All right, so here's how this works. So this area down here is text. I'm sorry, is the waveform. So for each one of these things, we can just lean in here, and hopefully this will work while I'm recording the podcast. Yeah, in this puzzle, queen to e5 attacks the white queen. Yeah, in this puzzle, queen to e5 attacks the white queen. So I didn't like that take. Yeah, in this puzzle, queen to there's that yeah at the start. In this puzzle, queen to e5 attacks the white queen. I might have there's a slight timing issue. I think I might cut off the end at the end of this queen. I'm gonna try this real quick. In this puzzle, queen to e5 attacks the white queen. There you see the waveform is bigger because I moved. Heard it. In this puzzle, queen to e5 attacks the white queen. There you go. All right, so now that is done, and I can export that. So I can click, so it knows where that to go. Export it. Now that audio, the audio is stored in a database, but now I've just exported it. Project. It just said re-imported that wave file. Find it. Hundreds. Should be called one. No, it should be called 160. Be wave 168. We double click on that, we got you. In this puzzle, queen to e5 attacks the white queen. See that right there? That's 2 clicks. A little too loud. Revise that. In this puzzle, queen to e5 attacks the white queen. That's a little softer. In this puzzle, queen to e5 attacks the white queen. That one more time. In this puzzle, queen to e5 attacks the white queen. In this puzzle, queen to e5 attacks the white queen. Black is protected by the bishop on g7. Black is protected by the bishop on g7. So I want to do 2 things. One is I want to make sure that from clip to clip, the sound is basically the same. I don't want one to be loud and one to be quiet. In this puzzle, queen to e5 attacks the white queen. Black is protected by the bishop on g7. That sounds good to me. So I've got 2 of them, and then so because I don't have a way to mess around with the timing, well, I kind of do, but I'll mess with the timing later. We can check. We can check with the pawn on e6. Or how about we have a check? We have a check from the pawn on e6. We have a check from the pawn on e6. And because I'm going to send this to a large language, or to a AI to transcribe, to get the timings on each word, I want the text to be have a check from the pawn. We have a check from the pawn on e6. Does that do anything? Does that do anything? I really want it to be like I'm thinking, not like explaining this to the person. Thinking along. But does that do anything? Recapture with the. He would just recapture with the rook. He would just recapture with the rook. Or he could just move out of the way. Everything I say here that I'm imagining, I have to animate it on draw an annotation. All right, this is enough. Let's just do this much. All right, so now I can export all of these. It'll just export everything in this section. If I go over here, it should just popped up real quickly. All right, and here's the process now. And this is a little clunky. This is probably the most clunky. Well, actually, actually the voice syncing is a little. All right, so what we do, we have this. Make sure the socket. Okay. Create a new node. Puzzle. Rewrite and rewrite. Write and record. Reenact the clip. Clip note. Fine. Audio. Now, that's not done. Didn't do all of it, but that process is. And then now we'll say we're gonna transfer or lip sync, create lip sync clip for each sentence. And so what we do is make sure the button on goes socket shell, WebSocket shell, add in Godot. And reiterate, this is not something that comes with Godot. This is something I added to Godot. It's very easy to add plugins, and I probably will make this like an open source thing because it's very small and it is really easy. Now you have a nice, cool way to send messages to Godot from another. All right, and then this thing now connects on that. So same port. Make sure the ports are the same. Make sure the port is correct. Same. And go. And then highlight, click the node to send, animate. Click export, click all next to export, export all clips. Make sure the export directory is correct. Is the click the node to animate, lip sync. So the reason this is slow is because you've got a loop, and then inside of the loop there's like a slow task. What should happen is while I'm recording, in the background, should run this rhubarb program. But currently that's in Godot, so I have to do it on the Godot side. Script to run it. So I need to port this script over here to thing. But that's not a project that I want to run. What am I trying to say? I guess I put this in here because it is about audio, and if I'm packaging this up as a project, as a product to make audio voiceovers, then lip syncing probably is a good part of it. But but this is more of a generic thing. Like my intent is that like it has an audio tool. This is a platform on which I'm building product, right? There's a product and then there's the underlying platform. They're two different things. And so I want to keep it kind of separate. Probably this would be an extension. I would make a plugin for this thing that has rhubarb in it, like I've made a plugin for. But that's down the line. Right now, rhubarb is here. So click send chunk. In Godot, open the inspect the rhubarb node. See the text. You should see the text of the node. Click rhubarb. Click animation. Here. Wait, that's weird. Did not send it. Oh, I didn't send it. I didn't hit the send chunk. Now I send the chunk. You can see it sent message make clip with the number of the node, the one here in this puzzle, and then the text. Now we have the text. Run rhubarb. It's running this external program, and it's going to give. You'll see the output of that program. These are time codes within that clip of mouth position, particular mouth position. And if we say build animation, second here, go to lip sync. We have all these animations that are already there, and we can get rid of them. Let's clear out lip sync animations. Clear out the animations. Godot, clear out the animation. They're all from the last video. Manage animations. It's now and GUI stuff to do in Godot. Now you're looking at lip syncs and rhubarb. Send chunk. We got the chunk. We got the phoneme codes. Build animation, and now there's the lip sync node. Added this animation. If we move down here to look at the guy, I don't identify that guy, right? Narrator. And we should just play.
In this puzzle, queen to e5 attacks the white queen.
Right? Here we go. Then we just keep doing this. Send chunk. Cleared out the codes. Run rhubarb. Animation. Scroll down, you can see it's clipped, and it did not change.
Black is protected by the bishop on g7.
Right? And so we have to do this. We have to keep. That's why I say it's kind of a funky bit, but I like to listen.
We have a check from the pawn on e6.
But does that do anything? So these are already exported, so it knows where to find that. Script just tells it, look at that ant, look at that thing, build this ant.
But does that do anything?
How far did that go? Brooks in. They're not necessarily in
He
order.
would just recapture with the rook.
I'll finish this.
He would just recapture with the rook. Or he could just move out of the way.
Okay. So that's that part. Demonstrated the process there. So I'll just add it to the scene. Now, done that. Good. Now we want to let's see what happens here. Build the scene of all the clips. Build a scene animation. Stitch them together. I think this might fail. Because, so basically just click send. Click send scene. And it's going to fail because it's trying to make one for all of these, for each one, and I haven't made them yet. Should get an error down there. Animation not found, clip 07. So yeah, so that's what I expected to happen. Something failed. So, see what it made. Should have made something. So under scenes, we should have one called puzzle.
In this
2.
puzzle,
There's
queen to e5 attacks the white queen.
That's because if you have a clip that's right at 0, plays it as soon as.
In this puzzle, queen to
Oh, okay, so the had the script completed correctly, it's bad here. Had it if it had completed, it would have made the animation the right length, but here it didn't. So it did. All right, so so far we have about 12 seconds of 12 seconds of
e5 attacks the white queen. Black is protected by the bishop on g7. We have a check from the pawn on e6, but does that do anything? He would just recapture with the rook, or he could just move out of the way. There you go, so that we've stitched those together. This will animation scenes node scenes player name will be same as the scene. So over here, like for the first one that I did, there's just notes about it. I think what the intent was here that I was going to move all of these under here, and this would be like a document in the database. You would have multiple documents, projects. Yeah, on the web, this database is I'm storing like every GitHub repo I have has been imported in here, hundreds of files. Basically, file system, and so like all the context world stuff. Anyway, but as I said, the UI doesn't allow me to stick this under here, even though the database does.
But in that pilot episode, I did myself production and thing, a middle game analysis and all the text. And I had a clip for each one, and I can put like, it's just a nice way to group them, and I get an animation for each. Here, I have the animation here, and so same. So that's the C node. And then can adjust manually adjust timings by dragging go finally. So that's that. Ideally, there would be like a two-way thing here, so that if you did that, you could send something back. You could send the timing information back and update the GUI, right, and update this, right, and you would have like a two-way communication. Okay. So then in the output, I guess what we would do. And so now we have like a preview that we can watch. We can preview. We have to say add the scene to the outline, the output. The output. So we already have the scenes player.
Like in this puzzle, right, queen to e5 attacks the white queen.
Then we can just make a new key for the scenes player, and then we tell it to play puzzle 2. Clip is empty, right? We can give it like a second or two to just like look at the. This is 1 second right here, so I would say, about this far in. Give somebody your split second to just look at the board. I don't know, who knows. And so now we can do this and say watch.
In this puzzle, queen to e5 attacks the white queen. Black.
Oh, you know what? When I made this animation clip, shoot. This is not done. I gotta redo this. One for the puzzle piece, so that we can animate the latest move, and so that's what should have happened. How can I do that? So how can I undo that? I can go to game player, and the move I want to undo, because I deleted all the things, so all the steps. So I want to undo the last move, is 23 queen to e5. Right? Okay. So what I'll do is I'll move this back, and in the WebSocket shell, I'll rerun, make this snapshot thing, puzzle. Then, does that work? That works. So now, then I can manually re-add if I go back to output, the animation, and right after the puzzle, I can insert a key and play queen. Here, this can be as short as you like. Maybe right around there. So now this should. Now we should see this move as.
In this puzzle, queen to e5 attacks. In this puzzle, queen to e5 attacks the white queen. Black is protected by the bishop on g7. We have a check from... All right, so that's good. All right, so now we see this circle came here. So where did that circle come from? So let's move that circle to actually g7. And the way that works is canvas here we have some commands. I made a little tiny language stretched even, but basically these are the list of annotations. Open this up, it's an array of things that are happening. So this says there's some senses. This is a circle, and it's blue, and it's on A4. Is that square right there? So we want to make a blue circle on 7 instead. And now if we run this again, it's protected by the bishop on g7. We have a puzzle there. Right, and so then, so now we have, we have a check on what? On. So we can move, the second one can be a arrow that is red from, what is it, F6 E6 6 to F7. Check from the pawn on E6, but does now if we run that again, now we should see the red line there. The bishop on G7. We have a check from the pawn on E6. Press this button. So these are the definitely don't that. First we run step 1 and step. First I had 2 arrows going back and forth. That should just 7. We have a check from the pawn on E6, but does that do anything? He would scrubbing is a little weird because this is actually running a command. No, it's actually setting these things. I'm not actually sure. Like I would expect this to work, but I think maybe it. I don't know. Dragging does not work the way I expected. It doesn't reset this the way it ought to, in my mind. It doesn't reset the list of commands. We have a check from the pawn on e6, but does that do anything? He would just recapture with the rook. All right, so there where he says he would just recapture with the rook, I probably want to draw a red arrow, yeah, that square. Just way too small. Way too small. So I need like a third. You had 3. Right, so it's the white queen. Black is protected by the bishop on g7. We have a check from the pawn on e6, but does that do it? In this puzzle. So this is also a little tedious. I would like to get to the point where I can just like just drag on the board itself. But you kind of get the idea, right? So basically you got 2 things. You've got one is the list of commands, and then when that goes to nothing, then the the command gets wiped out. The annotations get commands are just annotations. So where I set the command, this command is I want to draw a red arrow from F8 to F7.
forcing me to get better at the chess notation. I've been practicing. And I could draw the king moving away, but do I need to? Yellow arrow, gray yellow from 8. Yellow means he's yellow bellied. So that there's the annotation. Um, and you drag these around to get them. If you don't do it right, they're gonna like start. You'll see like it's just a pain. You have fine grained control, but of the timing. But like I think it should. There ought to be a script here to audit. Good. Does that do anything? He would just recapture with the rook, or he could just move out of the way. You got to go all the way back to the and here to get it to show what you want it to show. See, as soon as I hit that one, d7. We have a check from the pawn on e6, but does that do anything? That now that's way too slow. Back here. Black is protected by the bishop on g7. We have a check from the pawn on. So this should be 0, right? This is 0. This is 1. This is actually fine. That key. I see. So it's also tedious because it's so small, and you don't have enough space. Queen. Black is protected by the bishop on g7. We have a check. That's way too slow for that. It's protected by the bishop on g7. We have a check. I almost want them right on top of each other. Protected by the bishop on g7. We have a check from the pawn on e6, but does that do it? Same thing here. Like you almost want them right next to each other. From the pawn on e6, but does that do anything? He would just recapture with the rook. I don't know why it does this. Like, why does it jump? See, like those are not until way past the end of the thing. By the bishop on g7. We have a check from the pawn on e6, but does that do anything? He would just recapture with the rook, or he could just move out of the way. Need like a new thing here until I say out of the way. Just move out of the way. Step 4. Bishop on g7. We have a check from the pawn on e6, but does that do anything? He would just look at that. It's animating the wrong arrows. You have to go all the way back here. Protected by the bishop on g7. We have a check from the pawn on e6, but does that do anything? He would just recapture with the rook, or he could just move out of the way. All right, that's good now. A little bit tight. I don't know why that happens. It's going to a different set of commands. Is that the next set of commands? I don't know. Crazy. You could just move out of the way. Okay, so whatever. So you get the idea, though. And then, of course, you would animate more things. All right, so I'm going to do one last thing on this video, and that is this text up here. So, do make the subtitle. So, hit the send text button. And all this does is it just sends the array of these, these lines. So we should have seen that. That's the full text. It sends the full text command. Now you can see the full text is in this scroll text. Probably what we should do is copy this and paste it text. And fit content. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to send that. So select the scroll text node, and then copy text of the video. Text of the video should be in the full text field. Copy it to the text field and format it so that no line word wraps. No line gets wrapped. None of the lines wrap. So use fit content. Fit content. Flag. And hide the other. We hide the other parts so we can see everything. We have queen to e5. That to the next line. Attacks the white queen. Line. Black is protected by the bishop on g7. We have a check from the pawn on e6. Does that do anything? Does that do anything? You would just capture, with, and this text format. Also, onto e works. We do that. Their queen. And I couldn't take the rook, and I take the rook. I'd be in check. Here, the rendering looks like the bottom of the. I think the first move. First move is trade queens. I suppose. Now, I don't know what that is. So it's probably I should do this. What is that? All right, so now turn that off. Oh, sorry, copy it back to full text. Copy it back to, and then that way we only okay, we only see 3 lines. Because when you set this, it uses text and the offset, so change the offset now. Control. And we can change the. Okay, so now we have to get the timings. And the way to do that right now, we're actually going to jump ahead and show how to back to full text. Now fetch timings for each word. So OpenAI has a an API called Whisper. Will let us take the text of thing. So first export the video as it stands. Export the video. So Whisper is a transcription API, and of course we know it. You know, we know what we don't have to transcribe it because we read the transcript. You know, we read the script. We don't need a transcript. We have the script. But to get the timings of the reading that we've done, we can send it to this API, right? To do that, we have to export the video. And so to do that, you click on Movie Maker mode, enable Movie Maker, toggle movie on, and run the scene. And so that works like this. You just click the button right here. This is part of Godot. Run the scene, and it's gonna record it. So this is at full speed. That was weird, right? Like it. Now we do this. I think what it was showing was the first keyframe wasn't whatever the. So when this gets to, I think it's 12. So however many seconds we have. We're at 22 seconds. Oh, the check. Sure. I haven't done this yet. So these are just manually placed on the top. Oh, okay. Hang on. Not working. This is a very short movie. Okay. As soon as those checks appeared, I only got this much audio, right? I was reading that, but okay, so that's not right. I only got this much audio, so we need to set. I see it's set to a whole minute. We need to set this to like 12 seconds. Oh, and then it's the output node is set to quit in Movie Maker mode. Had we waited the whole time, it would have. This should only be 12 seconds. I was getting confused. When this gets to about 12, it doesn't run in real time. It's giving. Oh, look at my. I don't know if you can see. You can't see the bottom of the screen, but the guy's eyes are closed. He's got a script that runs continuously that makes him blink, and if you just happen to start the thing while he's blinking, his eyes stay closed the entire video. So that doesn't work. But it's okay. So now once we've done that, see it quit on its own because of that tag. And so now if we go to Godot directory, we can start puzzle.avi because that's what I told you. Root of the scene, you can bottom here. You can add this thing file, add any string as method.
And if you have one called movie underscore file that it. In this puzzle, queen to e5 attacks the white queen. Black is protected by the bishop on g7. We have a check from the pawn on e6, but does that do anything? He would just recapture with the rook, or he could just move. So, and you can see this is not, it's not quite in sync. Like I talk at a certain rate and they're all strung together. So like my normal talking speed is kind of accurate and it kind of works, but it's not perfect. So we're going to run the script. So we're going to go to, so first we have to do ffmpeg. We're going to take that AVI. We say input is puzzle.avi. And we're going to generate puzzle 2, puzzle audio, which I've already done. Okay, so that was very quick. When you do video, it like takes about some multiple of the some smaller multiple of the time it actually takes to play the video to do every frame, but export the audio. It's great. So now we can go up here and we have another script over here. That is actually in under CD tangent code. And so I want to run Python transcribe. Let me copy what I. And export the audio. Ideally, my tool would provide this directly, right? And you could run the timings on each little clip. In fact, what's happening here, or rather, it's going to take the audio that I just compiled with Godot, and the script that I got out of the OpenAI website takes that audio, breaks it down into chunks arbitrarily, and then uploads it to get the transcription. So I could just start with the chunks and do the same thing, but I had actually written the script for that longer video that had the whole game in it, so that I could take the live video and animate a recording rather than doing it. That didn't make it into Beaver code. That one is actually and so then we're going to run this code. Okay. Or we want to copy this in case. So we're going to run that. And now that's talking to OpenAI's API. And you see we get this data. Also saved to transcript.json. Then this. Run JQ. JQ is just a program that extracts JSON. Yeah. We're going to save that to timing stuff. Open timings.json in Notepad. Whatever. Anything. Because we need to edit it. Probably need. So
We'll just run Notepad. I actually have 2 copies of. Yeah, this is the previous one. I takes D4 and JSON. Oh, hang on. Yeah, in this puzzle, this is correct. So did I not? A JSON. Okay, I don't know how I screwed up watching this. Okay, so anyway, so we have these. We can copy and paste this. So copy and paste this. Copy and paste the JSON into open, because we probably need to edit it. Copy and paste the for now. First, copy and paste the JSON into control text timings. See, now I need to synchronize that with the text up here, and so that has to be word for word. And that's why we might have to edit. Then we click animate. If there is any output, I think I did a pretty good job of keeping it working. And in this particular case, it understood me clearly. It didn't hallucinate, and all the words are exactly the words that I said it should be. So it got the transcript right. If there is a diff between OpenAI's transcript and the actual text, and you will get some error note, get some notes in the console. Need to manually update the JSON. But in this case, that didn't happen, so I don't have to show that, which is good because that was very tedious. And this will all get smoothed out eventually. That'll happen. Okay, so now we should be able to watch this again. And now when we watch it, we just let's turn everything back on. So we turn the game back on. Generate the animation. Go to the animation. Be able to drag this back and forth and no, because why? Ah, okay, so something is happening. Something did go wrong. It went wrong this time. The problem is I put 2 spaces in front. Yeah, I put two blank lines to. That should be 0. Oh, and now we have to select all of them, maybe? Move them slightly? That should not have happened. I would expect them to all be lined up exactly. See what's going on.
In this puzzle, queen to e5 attacks the white queen. Black is protected by the bishop.
Yeah, I'm a little confused. I would really expect a key. Select them all. Zero. Do this. Why is it saying now we do this? Maybe in the real scene it's set to. Where is this? How we do this? That's the very end, right? Oh, there's something's wrong here. Something's wrong with the very start. I've got a bug here. Anyway, this should be clear, right? All right, so I think that when I play it, it's gonna. Anyway, so now if we play it, just play it loud. I won't be able to see it. So I hit play and then.
In this puzzle, queen to e5 attacks the white queen. Black is protected by the bishop on g7. We have a check from the pawn on e6, but does that do anything? He would just recapture with the rook, or he could just move out of the way.
Something's wrong. I'm going to delete all these. And then I'm going to rerun that animation. I think I screwed something. Oh, you know what? Maybe I should have the scroll text do that in the scene itself. I don't know. Yeah, that's
In this puzzle, queen to e5
somehow
attacks the white queen.
it just all worked out last time. So I've got two problems here. One is that when it generates it. Generates it, puts it at time 0 from because that's what the audio said. But I mean, that was the point of doing this, was that it would be timed up perfectly with this audio. Something went wrong there. It didn't have a problem last time. It not. Okay, so anyway, scroll text. I'm gonna run that. Where's it? This, yeah, this says it starts 0. It shouldn't be 0. It needs to be nudged up a little. But OpenAI said 0. So maybe OpenAI does not click the. There's a slight problem there. That's problem 1.
In this puzzle, queen to e5 attacks the white queen. Black is protected by the bishop on
I think they're slow a little bit.
g7. We have a check from the pawn on e6, but does that do anything? He would just recapture with the rook, or
Seems a little.
Or he could just move out of the way. To e5 attacks the white queen. Black is protected by the bishop on g7. We have it.
It's too. Yeah, so I got to get this timing differently. Got to go all the way over here, and then you got to. Can't. It's not easy to nudge it.
In this puzzle, queen to e5 attacks the white queen. Black is protected by the bishop on g7. We have it
Lagging.
a check from the pawn on e6. But does that do anything?
That looks right.
He would just recapture with the rook, or he could just move out of the way.
Okay, so that's the video. Is that it? At the very end, you play one more animation, which is the baked animation. Same from every.
In this puzzle, queen to e5 attacks the white queen.
This. So that goes at the end of the animation. It's already there. Way over here. I guess that's it. So yeah, I showed how to do the canvas stuff. Maybe I could talk a little bit about the. I think maybe some of this is going to be open source at some point. Not right now. Canvas stuff, kind of neat. I had to solve like a little geometry problem to draw. You have a list of commands. You have a list. You have the time, and so if the time is a integer, then it just shows up to that, up to that command, to that list of annotations. But if it's in between, then there's an animation for each one of those things. And so if you have like 0 might show that circle, or 0 would show nothing. 1 would show that first circle I did. And if you did 0.5, it would show the circle halfway, like you can manually do. As you scroll back and forth, you see its command initially set to nothing. Set it to a list of these things. So as soon as we hit here, well, you can see in the middle there, the circle expands. So just how fast you want it to expand is how far you move. Slow, that circle grows. Anyway, I guess that's it. That's the pipeline. I've been at this now. I've been at this for 2.5 hours. I have not done the whole video, but I was explaining a lot and just rambling a lot. But I've shown the whole process, documented. At some point, I'll come back and edit this or do a. I want to present this when it's done. It's not done yet. Oh, and then I guess the very last thing is the icons. The icon is just a sprite, and then you put it on whatever square you want, and you set it to whatever frame you want. There's a empty frame. There's a check mark, and then if you go to number 2, there or X. And then I recorded the sound effect. I didn't record it. I got it out of SFX or open source. JSF. JSF XR. Generator. I have most of them. I need one more. I need one more that sounds like wrong. So this is the one I play when it's right. I just manually put it on. Okay, anyway, that's it. That's all for the video. Thanks for watching. If you want to watch these videos, the channel is Takes World on YouTube and X. Maybe a Instagram or TikTok or something. And make a bunch of. Yep. All right. Thanks for watching.